Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another episode of Islam for Europeans. I'm your host, Robert. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Before I start our episode today, just let's put our hands in the air and make dua for our oppressed brothers and sisters. Um, the situation is very dire there, and may Allah keep them safe and put an end to this horrible situation that they're faced with. Oh Allah, please grant them safety and security. Oh Allah, please grant them paradise. Oh Allah, please put an end to the bloodshed. Um, you know, I can only watch so much of it, before I start to get really depressed. I don't know about you guys. Um, but I need to carry on. We need to carry on, and this is why I wanted to make partly why I wanted to make this video because, we all have things that we're working on in our lives, and we can't stop doing them, because it's important. I mean, this channel is important, like indirectly because we don't want mosques to waste millions of dollars on these convert programs. The money is much better served for emergency aid organizations. So that's how I look at it. So just make dua, oh Allah, please help our brothers and sisters. I wanted to make a follow-up video to the last video that I made because I want to be an honest dealer. Maybe I came across a bit too harsh for our brother Mohammed, given his latest tweet. But we're here to provide constructive criticism, and we need to give credit where it's due. And at the end of the day, the Dawa Bros, the UK Dawa Bros, they have the main channels. They have the millions of subscribers. So they're running the show. So the most we can do is provide critique and analysis and praise them when they do something praiseworthy, and just try to be offer constructive criticism with our tiny channels. I wanted to praise Brother Muhammad for his interview with Pearl. Pearl Davis from Just Pearly Things. Regardless of what you think about Pearl as like a as a YouTuber, I know she says some pretty out there controversial things. Even if you're not a fan of her, you have to realize that she has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. She has a large outreach. Brother Muhammad, he's a very knowledgeable person. He knows a lot about Islam, far more than I do. He explains things really well. He uses good analogies. He hasn't released the full video yet. I was able to watch the first two clips that he made, and I really think that he did a good job just explaining what Islam says about various topics related to gender relations, polygamy, without going to the other extreme and trying to sound so extreme that you try to appeal to the red pill base. What he said about polygamy, that he holds the opinion that if a woman stipulates in her contract that she doesn't want her husband to take another wife, then he must follow that. I do think that the polygamy issue is a bit overplayed. Like if you look at the rates of polygamy across the Muslim world, they're still very low. And I think the anti-Islam right likes to use it as a linchpin to stir up anti-Islam sentiment among their crowd. What the Red Pill movement does sometimes, they'll do is they'll look at Islam and they'll say, Islam is based in this regard, but they look at the most extreme things and say, these extreme things are what's going to be good for society, even if it's not necessarily something that's practiced in Islam, maybe just something practiced within the culture. In any case, regardless, when we look at the opinions toward Islam within the Anglosphere, as we said before in the last video, it's a range of opinions. You have the highly negative to highly positive and everywhere in between. So getting away from the highly negative people like your Tommy Robinsons and your Douglas Murrays and your Paul Goldings, who end up being the main interlocutors for the people who run Dawa websites, the major Dawa figures. It's great that Muhammad was able to get away from that and interview someone from in a different field, in a different sphere, whose thoughts on Islam are far more positive, right? I mean, Pearl, it was, it seemed very open. It was a very cordial conversation. There were no slurs thrown, which, was which is good to see. We want more of this, more of this. Interviewing people whose thoughts on Islam range from neutral to positive, because the conversations are going to be far more fruitful, right? So, kudos, Jazakallah for Muhammad for having this interview. Like I said, I don't agree with everything Pearl says. But at the same time, I'm glad that Mohammed was able to interview someone, from the red pill sphere. Now, the red pill sphere and the dissident right sphere, they're kind of like a Venn diagram. Once in a while, someone from the dissident right will go on the red pill channels or vice versa. They'll mention each other in each other's videos, and up until now, the only people to ever interview, the only Muslim to interview people from the DR up until this point has been Dilly and Daniel Hakikaju. So, Mohammed, I think this is a good match. Again, another thing is that Pearl, I guess two reasons why Pearl, it's a much more cordial conversation with Pearl as opposed to someone like, Mark Khaled or Jada Franson. And that is that, A, she's not a politician. Like for her to say good things about Islam, it's not going to alienate a voter base. So I think that's a lot of reason why there's reluctance on the half of someone like a Mark or a Jada to, admit certain things about Islam. And that, the conversations don't go into the political. This was mostly theological. So that's good. And then B, Pearl is American, right? So, in Europe, there's far more mutual animosity, I find, between, the native Europeans and, the Muslims who come from Muslim countries. So for those two reasons, I think the conversation on the whole, I haven't seen the whole thing yet, hasn't been released yet, but I would say that this is definitely something that should be praiseworthy, and we should say, yes, this is great. More interviews with people whose opinions on Islam range from neutral to positive. More opportunities to, dispel these misconceptions in a very, easy way that people are receptive to. So yeah, that's great. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, though, is a bit of the conversation in which Pearl and Muhammad are talking about what religion Pearl wanted to decide upon, right? So she said that she was thinking of either Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, and Pearl said that she didn't, when she thought of Islam, it seemed too foreign, it seemed too different. That was like the main reason why she didn't want to convert to Islam. Now, keep in mind, we use a lot of social psychological models on this channel, and the model that I always use is Prochaska's 6 stages of transformational change. If you don't know about Prochaska's 6 stages, you can look it up on the internet to have like a visual aid. So they use this for stop smoking, weight loss, changing health behaviors. And the 6-stage process is pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and termination or relapse. Right now, in general, you can say that large Islamic organizations, mosques, dawah booths, the mainstream Muslim community, 95% of their dawah efforts is concentrated on the action phase, i.e., getting people to take their shahadas, right? Getting them to convert to Islam, because there's great reward in that. I mean, being the door to someone to actually convert to Islam is highly praiseworthy. The reward of it is greater than the heavens and the earth. The distance between the heavens and the earth. So the reward for that is very great. So I can understand why the main concentration is that on that one stage of change. But yeah, as you'll see, if you go back and listen to this part of the interview, you're going to see that Pearl's reservations have to do with all 6 stages, and this is, I think, why a lot of Westerners, end up not converting to Islam in the first place. B, they convert, but just silently or privately without entering into a Muslim community, and then a lot of them just don't convert to Islam in the first place, or even think about it. And and finally, maintenance. So a lot of people some people convert to Islam, but because the Muslim community, by and large, does not have the resources to deal with their problems, a lot of them backslide, and they simply can't hack it, unfortunately. So I'm going to read now after Pearl explained why she chose Christianity over Islam. I'm going to read a transcript of what Muhammad said in this. And again, I'm not saying this to criticize Brother Muhammad. I think he did a great job in explaining this, and he's not necessarily wrong here. That's what I want to. That's what I want to put forward. So again, I'm not singling out Brother Mohammed, but I'm just trying to look at how we're looking at the problem. Okay. Okay. So this is what Muhammad said about Islam, being the truth. Consider yourself when you die. You're going to have some kind of a log that you hold on to when you die. So religion is like a log that you hold on to in a sea or an ocean after you die, and you want the right one, and you want the right one to keep you afloat. When you're looking at religion, you shouldn't be looking at that which is going to serve your interests. Religion is not like a butler that is here to help you and serve you. When someone is looking for religion, effectively, what they're trying to do is look for the truth. And sometimes the truth can be something people don't like. And the first thing for not just you, but for anybody who is looking for the truth, it doesn't matter how different or similar the truth looks or how weird or strange it may appear. If the truth is coming from a particular direction and it is the truth, if one is sincere, then you'll follow the truth. So in theory, Muhammad is correct. You shouldn't, that's why I converted to Islam, because I believe that it was the truth, right? I wasn't think I would now. Um, Even still though, even though I knew that I had an idea that my family would be okay with it, that they weren't going to kick me out of the house, that it wasn't going to affect my job because I was working for Muslims. I didn't have any previous addictions. So, for me, like I converted to Islam, but I think I had all these like protective factors in place that pushed me along, and alhamdulillah got me to convert to Islam. Now, I think what happens is, the fact that Westerners are in a position where if and when they do convert to Islam or contemplate thinking about it, there's that's going to be a big backlash within their own sphere, their family, their community, their job, their social life. It is an enormous change, right? And I think what happens is that only the people who are ready for this enormous change actually convert and enter into a Muslim community and become assimilate into a Muslim community. So they're able to pull it off, and I can the log analogy is perfect because yes, you want to hold on to the log that will help you before you die. But at the same time, you have to realize that when you grab this log, you're going to lose all the other logs that you were hanging on to in your personal life, in your social life. And even though Islam is the truth, you're going to be converting to Islam, and you're going to lose you're going to have a lot of social loss. You're going to have a lot of property loss, financial loss, family loss, a lot of challenges to deal with. And by and large, Muslim communities, they're simply not ready to handle that. And I think this is what prevents a lot of Westerners from converting to Islam in the first place. When you look at the top 5 problems faced by converts, um, number 1 is managing and mitigating the relationship with your non-Muslim family and community. And mosques are not designed to ameliorate that. At most they may say, bring your family to the mosque. We'll talk to them. But a lot of times your family doesn't want to go to a mosque. And vice versa. If you look at the other direction, a lot of Muslims, especially Muslim leadership, doesn't want to enter into non-Muslim spheres and talk to your non-Muslim family and community. And many times, if you were to put them in a room together, it might backfire. They might get into an argument. So, and the last tweet that he posted, is a perfect example of that. So I can understand why he's saying that you want the religion that's correct, that the one you're going to hold on to. That is true. But you have to look at it that these converts are going to many times have to deal with many problems, and going on Twitter and antagonizing the entire Anglosphere when you're trying to just respond to the anti-Islam right, you're going to end up shaking all these bees nests. And Pearl's father or sisters or brothers may look at a tweet like that and hate Islam even more. So you're making it you're really you're making it more and more difficult for Westerners to convert to Islam, or just in general go from one phase to the next. like antagonizing their family and community is going to make it difficult to go to pre-contemplation to contemplation, or contemplation to preparation, or from preparation to action, or from action into maintenance, or maintenance into relapse or termination. So, and if you look at, spheres where, there's already Muslims in that sphere to begin with, whether that's, for example, a sport. You look at MMA, there's already lots of Muslims in MMA, whether that's, the actual athletes or their trainers or their agents. A lot of them are already Muslim already. So it's a lot easier for them to convert to Islam. So you kind of have this group conversion because they know that they're going to face a lot of fallout, in their personal life. They're going to have to deal with a lot of challenges. But at the same time, they know that there are going to be societal resources, i.e., Muslims that live in that sphere, when they fall. I mean, think about it. Think sincerely. Pearl converting to Islam. Like, do you really honestly think that a mosque in her city is going to be able to deal with or help with her social circles in any way, shape, or form? And ask yourself that question honestly. So, um, like I said, I get where he's coming from, and what he said is correct. At the end of the day, you want to choose a religion that's correct. But at the same time, you have to realize that, even though there's an uptick in pro-Islam sentiment in the Anglosphere, you're still going to have to deal with all these problems. And the more you create organizations where the people in that sphere collectivize, the more logs you have when you convert. And now, like I said, the destination, is the end, like when you die. But at the same time, you're holding on to this log. You want to have as many other logs as humanly possible, so that it will help you along all 6 of those stages. Right. So overall, I think it's a wonderful video, wonderful interview that Mohammed did with Pearl. I think it was a great idea. I'm glad they actually, got to sit down and talk. I'm glad it was cordial. May Allah reward Mohammed for the effort that he puts into. And, again, like we have to give credit where it's due. And, they're the head honchos, the Muhammad Ali, the Muhammad hijabs and the Ali Dawas and the Zishans. They have all the viewership and subscribership. So, all we can do is when they do something that, is, that we think, should be criticized, we should do that. But we should also praise them when they do things that are good, that we agree with, and just provide our recommendations on how to slightly tweak, what they're doing. So, that way, this can help us along in the hopes, inshallah, that they actually see this video. So, that's my time for the day. Please like and subscribe to Islam for Europeans. I'm your host, Robert, and thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.